I actually had a debate with a leftist. And one of the things that I was saying is that it's not surprising that so many people are reactionary, given the fact that of how fast change is happening in society. Like things that were unconceivable 4 years ago are now being promoted, and things that were being promoted 4 years ago are now unconceivable. So the leftist gave me a link to a Twitter post, which I found very interesting, and we should actually talk about it. And the Twitter post says like this: America has never seemed crazier than it's now. Well, no, actually, it seemed crazier before. Imagine that you are an American parent in the 1963. You are a veteran of World War II. Your wife has never worked. You're the average American family. Now, fast forward 5 or 6 years, and your son is now in college. He has hair the length of a girl, smokes marijuana, something that was only considered that people in the ghetto do, listens to violent and distorted music, and he also has a Viet Cong flag hanging in his dorm room. Your daughter, now also in college, lives in a co-ed dorm and is on the pill. She doesn't wear a bra. She has confessed to experimenting with hallucinogens. She dresses like a peasant. Your wife insists that she works full time and complains that being a housewife is unfulfilling, if not outright oppressive. You go to see a movie, but the movie has nudity and simulated sex, and actors use words that only sailors and construction workers used to use. The characters on a TV sitcom just said the word damn. You turn on the TV and you're bombarded with ROTC centers and people burning the American flag and protesters taunting cops. All of the above would be absolutely unthinkable 5 years before, and you're thinking to yourself, damn, the world has gone insane. So it is true that there used to be a time of great change in the United States, but this was brought upon by a world war. Like due to the war, the culture shifted dramatically. So like what's being discussed here is that it's true. Like before the war, women didn't work and they were mostly housewife. I mean they did work. It's just that they worked around the house chores. And after war, like they wanted to actually go and work as secretaries or work in factories and stuff. So this was caused by the war itself. And one of the reasons that people managed to cope with this change, and it's not like a historical dramatic thing that happened, is due to the fact that when you're going to the battle and your entire life becomes hell, when you come back home, many of the things that would have normally shocked you, they don't seem as shocking. You know, you may say, well, yeah, I mean, what's happening is really bad, but at least I don't see the bodies of my teammates. At least I don't see my brothers getting blown to bits. So that would actually help with the cope. But the thing is, like, nowadays that's not the case. Now it's through social media, which you can actually say, yeah, like social media had the same influence on culture like a world war did, where things that were unthinkable a couple of years ago are now mandatory. So for instance, if you guys remember, the reason Jordan Peterson got into the normies discourse, like into the public eye, because he was a famous clinician and he was cited in many works. But like most individuals didn't know who Jordan Peterson is, right? Like unless you're into psychology, you have no idea who he was. And the reason he actually got into the conversation is due to the fact that he refused to use made-up pronouns. So he wasn't against using like he, him as a pronoun. He was against using zer, here, like those types of things. And the mainstream media was like, well, what do you mean? Like, what? And he was like, well, it's not the pronouns that's the issue, it's the compelled speech. Because up until now, we used to have censorship. Like, up until now, you did have laws that prevent you from saying stuff. But this particular law is egregious because it forces people to say things. So you're forced to use certain words, and this didn't exist up until that point, according to Peterson. So the backlash from the media was to call him a conspiracy theorist, pretty much. They didn't use that word because it wasn't coined back then, not to this extent. Like back then, conspiracy theories themselves were actually something okay. Like you saw them on mainstream television. There were documentaries being promoted with conspiracy theory. Like that was fine. It's not now. Just another example. But like Jordan Peterson was considered crazy, a lunatic. Like what do you mean? Like no one is going to punish anyone for not using made up. Like, you're creating an issue. You're just trying to get clout on the internet. You're just trying to get people to sign up, and then you're causing like this outrage that shouldn't exist. You're basically causing a public disturbance. Nowadays, if you look at the new Canadian hate speech bill that's going to pass, which apparently makes hate speech almost the same like child pornography on the internet, like you can go to prison for it, right? Like if you type something offensive and you press enter, in Canada, it's almost the same like distributing illicit material. I mean, it is illicit material. You can go to prison if that law passes. It hasn't passed yet, so. But like one of those does deal with misgendering. Like they do consider the concept of a transgenocide, and part of it is like to not use the correct pronouns, and basically proving that what Jordan Peterson was saying that 4 years ago was considered unthinkable, to the point where the press could say like, well, you're crazy, like that would never happen. Now, not only does it happen, but they are trying to codify it in legislation and arrest people for not doing it. So, like, such a dramatic shift in culture with just one issue. There's many other issues, just one that it came into the top of my mind. So, like, the world that we live in now is completely different than the ones 4 years ago. I'm not even going to go into the pandemic, right? Like, where you have Donald Trump getting elected, then everyone is about fascismus every time, like everyone is now an expert in fascismus and read all of the literature from Benito Mussolini to know exactly what to fight against, right? And everyone is anti-fascist, so like everyone is a fascist expert now and everyone is combating it. And then COVID comes and it's like, oh, if only we can save one life, show papers at the waiter at McDonald's, have checkpoints, make sure that the privacy information, like the private medical information of one person is now public knowledge, so that we can repeal Roe v. Wade in the future. Like everything, like censorship, mass censorship, book burning, like obviously they didn't burn books, but like making sure that like during the 2020 riots, it was movies that were taken down from Netflix, books that were taken down from Amazon. Like all of these things that before it's like fascismus, evil, we could never have something like that. Now, right? I can only imagine what that does to a person's psyche. So if you say America has never seemed crazier time than it is now, the answer is yeah. I mean, it has seen crazier times, but it was due to a world war. Like it was a massive tragic event which caused the thing, and now it's on a yearly basis. Every single year, things are different. Things are much more different than they used to be. Significantly so. And it's constant. It's all the time. There's no stop to it. Usually, it used to take like one generation for things to change dramatically. Right? So like the things that were acceptable when my grandfather was alive weren't acceptable when I was alive, and vice versa. But now it's like once every 2, every 3 years, is this constant change, this constant, right? So this is what people are talking about. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.